2, 1. Go. And that poison damage is so much.
I'm not ready yet.
Oh, it's going so well. Damn.
I'm not ready. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. Out of mana. I'm not ready yet.
Poison damage.
I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. I need time. I need time. I need time. I need I need time to prepare that. I lack. I'm not ready yet. I need time.
Not too bad. Corpse buzz got me. And the poison. Just so much damage. So here's a little bit of my gear. Got ice armor. Casting that gives me unstoppable. And grants me 30% increase to armor. 7 over a press set. Gives me a good chunk of armor. The Unstoppable is pretty nice because it synergizes with this unique. Whenever you're unstoppable, you get increased damage and you restore resource. So, Ice Armor, Teleport, and Flame Shield give you unstoppable. We have Raiment. Whenever we teleport, we suck them in and we stun them. And that's a lot of damage. This other one allows them to be more tanky, but it loses out on a lot of damage. So I think Raiment is just much better. We have some gloves, pretty good stats, and gravitational is mandatory. The new unique for killing Durio. Essus, this gives us a lot of crit chance and move speed. So we are like at 200% move speed whenever we kill an elite. So scroll down here. Right now it's at 124. And then we evade, and it brings us up to 199. And 200% is the cap. But also whenever we kill an elite, that also gives us more move speed as well. But it just caps out at 200%. The other thing is that the crit chance for the extra move speed, it boosts up from 42% to 62%. So you have 62% crit chance. Our resistances, whenever we press an ability, we become resistance cap essentially. So now we are resistance cap. Our armor with disobedience stacks, we're over the cap of 13,200. And if we add that up with snow belt, we are at armor cap essentially. So we're armor cap, resistance cap, and we have movement speed cap, and we're also having almost crit chance, a pretty good amount of crit chance. 62% is pretty good. Over here we have Edge Masters, pretty good stats. Not the best item level for power, but the stats are pretty good. We run Edge Masters because we're almost always full mana and we're always just spamming one over and over again. So that's very important. Over here, Disobedience, more armor, helps us, saves us from getting one shot from being melee. It doesn't save us from getting one shot from a corpse spell, unfortunately. The stats are pretty good. Mana cost reduction is very important to have on everything, and as well as resource generator. Plus 3 the mastery, plus 3 devouring is pretty nice, more damage. Control, so these rings, they both have resource gen. The crit chance, pretty nice. Crit damage, it's not necessarily ideal. Post season 2, I think they nerfed crit damage and bone damage. So now ideally you would want damage to close and max health. That would be the ideal stats instead of crit damage and bone damage. But I'll just check what I can get. So control, you do more damage against stunned or frozen enemies. So with Raiment, we're able to stun them pretty easily, and with Frost Nova, we're able to freeze them. So we do a lot of damage. Conceded, more damage while we have Barrier. Storm Swell, more damage while we have a Barrier. And we apply Vulnerable through the use of not only Frost Nova, but also through their use of our Vampire abilities. So if we go over here, a Cursed Touch applies Vulnerable to enemies. So that's how we're able to get that applied. So the other important thing is our primary resource restore, Lucky Hit, and more resource generator. Like all that is just very important to have. So let's go back up to Vampire powers. So I'm just have Ravenous for more attack speed. Anticipation, faster cooldown for the ultimate reduction. More damage to vulnerable. This helps us apply vulnerable to enemies. And this just allows us to do more damage in a Nightmare Dungeon. Now for bossing, you don't need domination since you can't CC the boss in time, since you do way too much damage. So ideally you could just swap this out for Call Familiar or Metamorphosis or just whatever other DPS. What's the thing? Alright, so for abilities, we are gonna run. So we just have 2 points here just for the sake of getting them. But you want burning, a way to apply burning. The reason why you want to apply burning is because disobedience stacks, it helps rack up. So when you have a dot on an enemy, you're able to rack this up, even though the enemy is not in your screen. As long as you're still ticking off screen, you're still getting stacks. So that helps keep the uptime on disobedience. The other important thing about burning is that if we go down here into our passives, devouring blaze, you do 42% multiplicative crit strike damage, so it helps us out a lot to do more damage. And then plus our necklace gives us another +3, which we have up here. So that's what we got. Fireball. Over here, we just get a potent warning to helps us out with the resistance cap. Elemental dominance, you just do more damage. And since we're almost always full mana, like this has like a very high uptime. Chain lightning. Now the reason I have this, it has been discovered that if you synchronize chain lightning with your spellbook, it's able to cast it. Every time we spend 100 mana, it casts randomly a chain lightning. Right here. Why do we care about this? Well, the reason why, if we go to our Paragon board, Static Surge has been changed in Season 2. It's no longer a stun, and then you get like 10 mana back. It's now, after spending 75 mana, or however much mana, your next Chain Lightning will give you 10% mana, and will apply Vulnerable. And so since we're able to get a free cast of Chain Lightning every time we spend 100 mana, we are able to launch one of those empowered Chain Lightnings that helps us restore mana. So this is how we're able to sustain mana as well. This isn't necessarily needed, but it helps out quite a bit. So it just depends how much you're struggling on mana regen. You could also run the recharging aspect, but I feel like you're just losing out way too much damage. And since I already have enough mana regen from resource generating, cost reduction, and the lucky hit procs, I feel that I don't really need recharging aspect, so I would rather do more damage. Alright. So now we go down here. Flame Shield, kind of self-explanatory. It's very nice to being able to immune everything. We have 1 point to teleport. Ideally, I would like to have more ranks in teleport, but there's just not enough points to go around. So I just made some sacrifice to teleport ranks here. Have maxed out on Glass Cannon. More damage. Elemental Attunement gives us a random proc of any of our defensives, which is pretty nice. Ice Armor. It's very nice to get the barrier. While we have a barrier active, every time we kill an enemy, it can give you even more barrier than what the tooltip says. So it can almost go up to like your life. So like you can have like a 10k or 7k barrier. The other reason we run Ice Armor obviously is for the mana regen, which is pretty nice. Ice Armor, this procs our control aspect, helps us do more damage. The CC is really nice, and it applies Vulnerable. The other thing to note about teleport is that when you teleport on top of a group of enemies, it reduces the cooldown on it, and it also gives you a damage reduction as well. So it's very nice to teleport as often as you can to keep that uptime. Not to mention, whenever you use the cooldown ability, you also get, well, I should say, whenever you spend 100 mana, you also get a damage reduction. So since we're always spamming 1 over and over, we have a high uptime on damage reduction. And using a cooldown as well, so like any of these abilities are cooldowns, you also get a barrier as well. Conjuration Mastery. The reason we're running this is because down here, whenever we cast unstable elements or unstable currents, you have a chance to spawn a lightning spear. And lightning spear is a conjured element, so this applies. So you do 3% for each conjuration, and this can stack up like pretty high, like I don't know, like 4 or 5, maybe even higher. So that's like at least like 15% or 15% multiplicative damage for a few seconds, just from casting unstable currents and then having several of these spawn. All right, so down here, oh, and I just have an extra point here, just for more damage reduction, so it just regenerates faster. Alright, down here we have the Devouring Blaze. You do a lot of damage. I prefer running this a lot more than what some other people say. This year the Devouring Blaze got nerfed, but I still think it's pretty good. Especially when you have a necklace that buffs the Devouring Blaze. I think it's worth it. Ball Lightning is our main ability. You want as much ranks as possible. Crackling Energy, this is how we're able to sustain our mana. This is very important. This allows us to just keep spamming more Ball Lightning. And it kind of feeds into itself. So the more Ball Lightning that you have, the more you're able to spawn Crackling Energy. And the more Crackling Energy you spawn, the more mana you get, more Ball Lightning you can get. So it kind of just feeds into itself like an infinite loop. So it starts off pretty small, and then the more enemies that you start killing, it starts to ramp. And sadly, it only lasts for 5 seconds of Ball Lightning, but like you would have near infinite. You get to the point where you're casting so much Ball Lightning, and your mana just doesn't drop anymore, and you're only at the mercy of how fast you can press 1. So yeah, it's really good to have. Unstable Currents. This gives you a lot of attack speed, which is important because Ball Lightning. The faster attack speed you have, the more ticks or attacks per second the Ball Lightning can do. Not to mention that Unstable Currents also gives you the ability to randomly proc lightning spears, and gives you the ability to proc more Ball Lightnings as well. More lightning spears as well from the Unstable Currents gives you more Conjuration Mastery bonuses. Okay, down here we just have more damage reduction from this ability. And Beer's Mastery just gives you more damage reduction and allows you to do more damage as well. Now, if you're gonna do like speed running, I mean, even I could just probably swap to this Overflowing Energy. What this does is when you pair this up with Overflowing Energy and Supreme Unstable Currents, this allows you to spam your Unstable a lot faster, and you get your teleports faster because your just cooldowns just come up so much more frequently. But the downside of doing this is that you lose out on damage reduction and just damage in general. But mostly the reason you take BRs is because of the damage reduction. 20% BR is pretty good. Alright, Paragon board. So we have over here, it's kind of just like what the standard max roll build was doing. So we have Reinforced. Do you know that my glyphs are not fully leveled yet? I still need to finish leveling up. So I have Reinforced here. The second board, take Territorial. Static Search is very important to get the mana regen as well. And we synergize this. with chain lightning in the book. Now, if you feel that your mana regen is just too good and you don't feel that you need this, you could probably just swap to ball lightning down here again. And then you could probably just take points out from static surge and put these 5 points somewhere else. The second Paragon board, you go over here, you have charged. The reason for this is just because of the multiplicative damage. You get up to 15% increased damage. It's always picking up crackling energy. We have near infinite uptime on this. The other option you could probably do is put in flamefeeder. Or you could probably put flamefeeder somewhere else too. And I'll show you that up here. So control, whenever you're just fighting just a straight up boss, you can't really see them because you just do way too much damage before you can even stack at the boss. So what you would do is instead of using control, you could use flamefeeder over here, and you'll do increased damage to burning enemies. Since we're using fireball on the book, we're able to use flamefeeder. Over here. So when you're just fighting only bosses, you could swap out control and get flamefeeder. But that's just for bosses. But for nightmare dungeons, I would just keep control because you're mostly just fighting trash mobs anyway. Alright, the next Paragon board, we have destruction. Our damage is pretty nice. The second to last one is adapt. This one's pretty good to have because it increases the size of your ball lightning. It just makes them bigger. And what this does when it makes it bigger is that you can just stand right under the boss, and as you're spinning around, you don't need a kite or chase the ball around. You can just stand still, and the ball lightning will tick the entirety of the time that it's spinning in the center. The last one that you want to get is exploit, and we put this on this board last. Do note that the order that which you unlock the Paragon boards determines the bonuses that you're able to allocate the rare notes on the Paragon board. So, this is a starter board. You want this to be the second. It's a static surge. The third board. This is the enchantment master board. The fourth board. Ceaseless conduit. Fifth board. Burning instinct. Destruction. Sixth board. We have elemental summoner. And we put it up. And the last one, we get searing heat, and then we get exploit here. That's about it as far as this build, or this variation of the build goes. But yeah, thanks for watching. You guys have a good day. Bye.